time in his career.
Ladies and gentlemen, time for men's quarterfinal action here on Rod Laver Arena. Would you please welcome from the United States, Tennys Sandgren. And his opponent from Switzerland, Roger Federer.
He's a 20-time major champion, and there's a reason he gets that kind of reception, because what he has done in this sport has been simply jaw-dropping, and at the age of 38, he continues to boggle the mind. My name is Rob Koenig, delighted to have the second best Roger in the house alongside me. It's Adelaide's finest, Roger Rashid.
Good afternoon, Robbie. That's the only time I'll accept that as commentary from you, because, well, Roger is the #1 man in the house. There's no doubt about that. Has been for a long time in a lot of people's eyes, and he's gone through the tournament in an interesting way, hasn't he? We'll talk about that a little bit later, but let's take a look at the coin toss.
One reminder of thoughts after the warm-up, please try to be ready with the balls, whether it's serving or receiving, to start a match before the clock hits 0. Any questions? No? So Rupert here, who are you asking for a choice? Yvonne, his choice.
First time.
And it is Yvonne. Serve. Can I ask you for a photo, please?
He knows his tennis history, doesn't he?
Exactly, he went with the history. Love it.
Roger Federer, of course, 6 times a champion here, and is trying to reach the semi-finals at the Oz Open for the 15th time. Tennys Sandgren bidding to reach his very first semi-final at any major. It just shows you the gulf in experience between these two.
Look at the way he's presented, Robbie, before you go through his details. Well presented. He's got some guns.
Yeah, well, the sun's out.
And the guns, they've got to turn up. They're out as well.
28 years of age, and one of these guys who's really worked through the levels to find himself at the sharp end of the sport. Really has excelled at challenger level for a number of years. Before, of course, making his breakthrough here in 2018. And what a run that was. His first ever top 10 win back then. He had back-to-back top 10 wins. And he's not going to be getting too many birthday cards from the Italians this year, is he?
No, look at the volume of work he's done throughout getting to this stage, and that's going to be, I think, a big player in today's tennis match, even though he's strong. But that's a heavy volume of work getting through to this particular moment.
You know, beating both Berrettini and Fognini, given how well both those guys have been playing of late. This tells us a lot about how well tennis has been playing this week so far. Roger Federer, well, we know his vital statistics all too well, but as you alluded to at this very start of the broadcast, Roger, it has been an interesting passage for Roger to this stage in the tournament.
Yeah, he normally jumps out of the blocks, and actually his first 2 or 3 rounds, and sometimes at around the 16 quarters, it's limited as far as work on the court. He's actually assured himself of a really full tank, as capacity as you can have moving into the second week, where it gets more detailed. And well, this has been a different type of entry to this round, but in saying that, he has an understanding of what's needed from here, and so there'll be no stress points attached to Roger at this point of the tournament.
That match against John Millman, Rash, 4 hours and 3 minutes. That took a lot out of him, not for the first time. He was down 8-4 in that 10-point match tiebreaker in the deciding set.
So the next round, Rob, sorry to bother but in there. But he lost the first set. I reckon that was just getting the body warm again. But then after that, 6-1, 6-2, 6-2, put the accelerator on, and that was Roger Federer entering the second week of the championships.
Let's talk about playing Federer for the very first time. What challenges does it present?
Well, it's you can watch Roger play on the screens or in person, but until you're on the court with him, it's a different understanding, because Roger's so on top of the court and inside of the court that you feel like he's almost on your side of the court with the way he actually attacks the ball and then comes forward. So you feel suffocated the whole time throughout the course of your play when the ball's in play. So he suffocates you, and that forces you to do a little more with the ball. There's no doubt about that, and go for a little bit more, push him off his centre stage, which is on the baseline and in front. In fact, 2 meters in front.
Yeah, and it's so difficult to play against, isn't it? Because you just feel like you've got no time. It's relentless.
You drop the ball with some flight. You hit the ball in the air thinking, I'll flight the ball. Well, if it's dropped short, he's taking it on the up. If it's 3/4 short, he'll still take it on the up and make sure he'll move forward, because, and then he trusts his forward half of the court activation as well. So he's one of these guys that I think just puts his stranglehold on your throat, and it challenges you to do more when you don't really need to, if you know what I mean, because you psychologically think, I must keep the ball out of his pockets. Hard to do.
What is the key for Sandgren then? Can he negate that? Can he try different things, or is he going to just have to do what he does to the best of his ability?
I think that's the first thing. Go out, do what you do best first. Don't actually jump at shadows immediately, because Roger might have a time where he does misfire like he did in a few of his matches, and took a long time. In fact, Millman, I think he became a street fighter the whole time through that match. Never really got it together at its purest. Maybe the last 6 points of the tiebreak in the fifth. But so you've got to offer your game first, and then work from there.
Oh, he's a big AC/DC fan, as Roger. Often hear him walking out to this, and of course a local connection there. This has been a very happy hunting ground for Federer, and you can say the same for Tennys Sandgren. He's playing in a quarterfinal here for the second time in his career, and he's playing against one of the game's all-time greats. Let's get it on.
15 love.
Roger will be looking for a fast start. We haven't seen him yet with this electrifying start that he can have. He'll need it, because part of his crew will be thinking, if form comes to play and he gets through this round, potentially a massive match against either Novak or Milos Raonic.
It's the usual crew in the Federer camp. Bottom left, Severin Luti. Tony Godsek, his agent, behind that in the blue cap. Ivan Lubicic in the front right, next to Mirka.
For Tennys Sandgren, I mean, it's a great story, and you'll go through that, Robbie, but his position's a little different. There was definitely fatigue playing in his match, and the body, the wear and tear. You see he's got some taping around his left knee through the quad. He'll need to get off to a really fast. He needs to get off to a fast start where he feels like he's he's involved in the match. And I think if you're against these guys, if you don't capture the first set, well, she's a bit of hard work, isn't it? The statistics will show that pretty well.
He's got a bit of McConnell taping there on the knee. Specific method just to keep that patella tracking nicely on the knee. Knees take a pounding on the hard courts. The only reason I know that rash is because I wore it for a number of months. Tape job that they do to really help the patella track. And I tell you what, this is a good start for Sandgren if he can get the early break here. A couple of nervy forehands and volleys from Roger.
Let first service.
Nicely done. Let's talk about the conditions, Roger. We're playing local time now, 3:30 in the afternoon versus Federer, who's played later at night.
Yeah, peak of its powers as far as the warmth goes around this sort of time. Not too warm, 23 degrees. So it's a little different, and the ball should be a little bit more lively in these conditions for sure.
Advantage, Federer.
So in other words, quicker through the air.
Yeah. And then again, we move into night from following this round. So there becomes prime time night sessions once we hit the semi-finals. I would think Roger would like these conditions. Again, it's a bit of a slow start, isn't it? Filled with unforced errors early. It's not the common Roger, it's not the normal Roger Federer we witness day in, day out at major level. Not so far this tournament.
Advantage, Federer.
And I think that's just all, you know, because we've seen brilliance. We expect flawless displays virtually.
Game, Federer.
That's an opening hole for Roger. And of course, he'd only want us to judge him by those highest of standards, wouldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's the only standards that he judges himself by. So this first meeting between them. Let's see what the win predictor has in store for us.
This should be very, I'm thinking 98. Well, I've got a 9 and an 8 in there. 92-8, that's pretty, yeah, that's about where it sits, isn't it?
Tennys Sandgren to serve.
Remember, Tennys Sandgren comes into this tournament ranked 100 in the world. Federer at number 3.
Thank you. Love 15.
Went to the University of Tennessee. Did tennis, coached by his mum, as I mentioned, South African.
I always sort of judge Roger and how he's feeling by
15 all.
how quickly he's claiming that baseline position inside the baseline, Robbie. If I see that immediately at the start of a match, I know that his body's feeling alert, it's lively, it's... And if there's a fraction back and he's happy to sort of manoeuvre the ball around a bit, I feel like, oh, maybe he's not quite ready yet to activate.
Let second service.
I mentioned how stiff he was after the Melbourne match the following morning. It took him a couple of countdowns before he eventually got out of bed.
15-30.
That's his current coach, Mike Russell.
Didn't he love to work hard?
Oh,
just got everything out of his game.
Epic match against Guga Kurten at the French Open. Had a couple of match points if memory serves.
15-40.
Coached in his early days tennis by Sam Winterbottom and Chris Woodruff at the University of Tennessee. Of course, we know Chris well from our playing days. Guessed right.
30-14.
It's the kind of rally that will help settle the nerves, won't it?
Yeah, will. And a little warning sign for me is when you watch Tennys Sandgren play in his home base across the baseline, it's just in front of the Melbourne sign. It's not. It needs to be a little closer, because if you're going to stay there all day long, Roger eventually is going to gobble you up. He's going to take so much of the real estate. Yeah, as I said, that would be concerning for me automatically. That's the first thing I see and go, okay, we're probably positioning ourselves not quite in the right spot. You can see here Roger's made a few errors, but he's had the control of the play of the outcomes. So don't be fooled by the scoreline or the errors.
That's not going to cut it. No chance.
Advantage Sandgren.
I mean, it's a little desperate from Roger here.
Yeah, I think he mishit that, didn't he? Normally has way better direction than that on that ball.
Game Sandgren.
Neither player having
One game more.
the easiest of holds on serve, but most important part is that they did get there in the end. And he will feel a part of this match now. The moment you get that meaningful digit alongside your name. So important, as Rash said, first couple of games, just to stay with Federer, to believe that he belongs on this court.
15 love.
Must be hard for Roger. If you go into Roger's mind, thinking about how pure he's a ball striker and what he does, his creativity, when it's not happening and it happens sort of a couple of matches in a row, it must be quite interesting for him to work through that. Because it's not often that it happens, is it? Where you see back-to-back matches where it's not quite fireworks.
Great volley from the American.
15-all.
Taking a page out of another man who went to the University of Tennessee there, Paul Annacone. He would have liked this one.
What I have enjoyed from Federer in this last back part of his career is a willingness just to hit the ball and just come forward. And even if it's not in the right spot, he still comes forward with some really good energy and prepared to dig deep and actually get down to the volley he needs to. He's prepared, Robbie, to challenge the opponent in finding space. Go on, get it past me at some level. You know, if you get it near me, I've got the volleys to execute and you're in trouble. So he's prepared to just roll the dice a little.
game, Federer.
Crisp from Roger. That's how Ivan likes it.
Federer leads
Slightly
2-1.
easier hold. Federer leads 2-1 first set. Be hard workout here today. It's nice.
Seats quickly, please, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Time.
It's been great if you've had a ticket for today. A couple of great matches. We've seen Sofia Kenin and Ons Jabeur. American doing very well early on. Boy, she's a pocket rocket. Ash Barty winning over Petra Kvitova prior to this one. And now it's the 20-time major champion taking on another American.
Love 15.
Masterful.
Love 13.
It's the combination that's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, and once you're in this position, if you don't get this ball right with enough authority on it, he's got options everywhere. Look how close he was in on the court from Roger. He didn't accept it on the baseline. He stepped in and even took a little bit more of your adjustment time away. That's why I love
Love 40.
coaching players and young kids, Robbie, when you're in front of them, to learn to take the ball on the rise. Not just accept it where it's comfortable. Get it on the rise. Learn how to accept that on the rise. Step inside the court and put him on the baseline, right on the baseline. Don't move back. I want you to accept the ball and see what that looks like. Roger does that at the highest level.
He's got 3 break points.
15, 14.
I think it's almost becoming imperative these days because players move so well, they defend so well that you have to find ways of taking time away from them.
Yep.
You can do that 2 ways. You can hit the ball so hard, of course that's difficult. Or you can take it on the rise.
Good out there. Nice
30,
placing.
14.
And the reality is there's a host of players that don't have a big change of speed in their game with their shots.
I think the benchmark when taking the ball early, the likes of David Goffin, Kei Nishikori.
Yes.
It's a good serve from Sandgren. And what I think it does is that even if you're not 6'3", you've still got a chance of doing well in the sport.
Let's first service.
And Nikolai Davydenko is another one who springs to mind. Incredible footwork, ball striking, on the rise.
Advantage Sandgren.
It's a meaty blow. In fact, it's The biggest serve from Sandgren thus far. Like the serve a lot.
Yeah, very simple. A lot of energy into the ball.
I like the fact the left arm leads and then the serving arm has got to catch up, so there's no pausing. Oh, right back at you, Roger. How do you like that?
Two games on.
Little party shot.
Yeah, he's just torn that page right out of the RF book, hasn't he?
Well, if you're going to do it, you got to save it to the biggest court.
Love.
Went at him.
15 all.
Good play. There's no malice in that. It's the beauty of that is you keep the ball pretty safe. You don't flirt with any lines, and there's got to be a big adjustment for the player at the net.
$30-15.
And a pantheon of great serves. Where does this one rank?
I have him, I think, I may not have had this discussion with you before, but I have it in the top 3.
40-15.
Top 3, so who's number 1 in your books?
Sampras is my 1.
I'm with you there.
2's Roger for a host of different reasons.
Okay.
And I've got the man he lost last night as 3.
Game Federer.
Nick Kyrgios.
Keeping some good company
Federer
there is
leads
Nick.
3-2.
So Rogers got a 3-2 lead first set. Kyrgios. This is you can see Federer's right leg's already made a move, so he's covering the line. That's why the direct shot, such an intelligent one. You're picking a big target, but if the guy can make the reflex from that close, good luck to him. I was just thinking, Nick, you snuck Nick there in front of somebody like Milos Raonic.
Yeah. Well, I just think, you know, I'm not looking at their overall results and outcomes and what's taken, just purely isolated the serve, because if you married that up with
Seats quickly, please.
full
Thank
performance
you.
package underneath that, I think the results will be looking after themselves anyway. So
Time.
he's such a great directional server, first and second serve.
It's been a decent start for Tennys Sandgren, the only active American man to reach multiple Australian Open quarterfinals. Looking to go one better this year, make it through to the semis. In fact, the last American man to make it through to the semi-finals here, Andy Roddick.
Yeah.
15 love.
2005, I think.
No.
It was after that as well, was it?
Yes, it was.
2009.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
correct.
There were 2 of them. That's right.
30 love.
Good serving performance. The only reason I say 2005 because I was coaching Leighton at the time and we played Andy in that night match. Great competitor. Loved how he went about his business, Andy Roddick.
(30-15).
I thought one of the best Hall of Fame acceptance speeches was from Andy. American always had a great sense of humor, and of course I say that because the new announcements came out this morning for the candidates. Goran Ivanisevic and Conchita Martinez on the ballot. And in that speech, Rash, he said the big four guys really peeved me off most of the time. But I'm absolutely proud to have my life and career associated with such individuals. He said, I got to guard Jordan. I went the distance with Ali.
Wait, please.
I pitched to Babe Ruth. I feel like I know what it must have been like to watch Picasso. I saw it all.
(30-40).
Two different beasts, and he played Fabio Fognini in the last round where it was all over the shop. It was hit and miss. You never knew what was going to get, but you're going to get a lot of unforced and a lot of opportunities will present themselves. This time you don't get too many. He's looked after a few. This one's big.
Game, Federer.
That'll disappoint him. Because at the very least, you want to make Federer earn
Federer
it.
leads 4-2.
And he'll feel like he's donated that game to Roger.
Yeah, and I think it's just a different emotional weight when you play these guys because they're not prepared to just dish out points and play loosely. It means too much for them. They know how hard it is to actually earn your right to be in this position.
He
generally goes on a little bit of overdrive, Roger, once he breaks you, isn't it? There's the majority of the time there's a very quick game that follows that. Let's see if Tennys Sandgren can put a dent in this service game a little.
(30-11).
That's what happens when you don't hit your spot.
Yeah. Look at this ball here. Barely has to move. He just leans back through the line of flight, which is a great place to play.
What it goes to show you is that at Federer's pace, if he's not accurate, his serve can get sent back with interest, but it has been so accurate his whole career. It's been mind-boggling.
Yeah, we don't see the genuine speed where you go, wow, but the accuracy in his second serve, and more so under pressure, the accuracy that he was able to find. That's the big ticket for me.
Oh, he's got it again.
He's had the single-hander.
40-30.
And this time he stepped up and released a double-hander. Big, strong American, but he's got the feel as well. Nice court awareness.
Let first service. Game, Federer.
Once again, a little cheap from Tennys Sandgren. Federer will take it with open arms.
New balls, please.
Why not?
Federer leads
5-2
5
after
games to
27 minutes.
Tennys Sandgren's he's interesting, isn't he? Because he has there's a lot of big dips in his year, aren't there, Robbie, as far as results and outcomes, and it's probably been his Achilles heel of actually being able to put himself consistently inside the top 50 players in the world. Has these really big outlier events where he gathers points.
Time.
Beautiful scenes of Melbourne.
Well, the AO has been very kind to tennis. And the majors in general. Speaking of those points accumulation, almost half of his points have come from just 2 events, Roger.
Let's first service.
Those 2 events in the last 52 weeks being the US Open and Wimbledon. Wimbledon 180 points there. US Open 90. It's a tally of 270 out of his total of 573. But what does that tell us about the tour then? If
Love 15.
this is a guy who's 100 in the world currently, and he's making the quarterfinals of a major. It tells us how tough it is and the depth. He's beating guys like Berrettini and Fognini.
Let's first
He's not even winning challenges every week he plays them. He's losing in the finals to guys like Tommy Paul, for example.
But this is where there has to be a kick on. That you can't actually leave Australia at some point making this stage and then not following through and not really activating in the other events. He's got to do. There's got to be a consistency, Robbie, so he doesn't
15,
need
13.
to play those challenges and be grinding out those weak events. Not weak as in like poor.
Week after week.
Week after week.
Mm-hmm. Always want to use momentum, don't you? It takes so long and so hard to get it. You want to ride it as long as you can. Whether you go play in South America or whether you go play indoors and then it's Indian Wells in Miami.
$40-30.
It's not quite as sharp as, definitely not as sharp, Roger, at the moment. Whether there's still some lag of the Millman match, and there probably can be. You know, he's not young. He hasn't got a young body. Well, it's young, but it's sporting terms. He's gone through a lot of rounds. So sometimes it can take you that 3 or 4 days, and through that time, you hopefully you just get through it and ride that wave.
Game Sandgren.
Good hole from Tennys Sandgren, but
Federer leads 5-3.
So it's been a scratchy set by Federer's standards. Let's see if he can put it on ice. Liquid whip of a forehand. The head is so still on contact with the ball. You can see the top spin. That's what gives it its extra kick when it bounces.
Love.
For me, that's always a barometer of the way Roger's hitting the ball. How's that forehand looking? Very few unforced errors in this opening set from it. That's more like it.
40-15.
So after just over half an hour, Federer's at set point.
Game and first set, Federer.
And he does indeed. Hold pretty comfortably. And the opening set belongs to Roger. 6-3 in 34 minutes. What do you make of these numbers?
Well, if you saw the percentages of serves in, you'd think, oh, Roger, he wins the set at 71. Tennys Sandgren, that's not good enough. That's not good enough at any level, let alone the second week of a major. So that needs to lift, because he needs to be able to stay engaged and not make his service game so stressful by having to look after so many second serve points win. But you're right, Roger is definitely not playing the cleanest tennis, and they would be picky on things like, what's your ball location, what's your timing of, it's about timing, ball location, your movement, your specific movement patterns as well, and that's the critical thing I think that's missing right now. The sharpness, we'll see if he picks that up.
Happy wife,
happy life.
That's what they say.
Generally.
Yep, and we've seen that Roger has put America through the ringer in a couple of matches of this tournament. She's been very animated in the booth, more than I've ever seen.
Yeah, she gets involved, she's passionate, and there's a massive drive there. There's an internal combined drive, which I've loved, and it has been from day one, and obviously she gave up her career, Robbie. So anyone who does that, and then they were on a journey, there was no doubt. I remember sitting in just winding down the window. They were in a car in Cincinnati. We're in the hotel, just pulled up, and I asked them about the journey. It was early on. They said, I said, you guys going to have kids soon? She said, oh, we got a bit of work to do first.
15 love.
So they were on a mission together.
Pulling in the same direction.
Correct. And then, obviously, the kids followed at the right time. And I think we don't dive into the storytelling of what goes beyond the tennis court, with the family, with the setups of the support systems around that actually allow you to just do what you do at your purest. And I think all the greats of
30-15.
sport worldwide would have virtually the same DNA of their, their back engine, the support that's around them, what they will do to allow that person to really deliver. It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They don't get spoken about. They don't take the limelight.
40-15.
That's more like it. That's the ball striking
40-13.
we generally see from Roger. It almost looks a bit like, it almost looks carefree. Be good to play like him for 5 minutes, wouldn't it? Just 5 minutes, just to feel what it's like.
Mr. Sandgren challenging the call on the right service line. The ball was called out.
I think we've all had individual shots where we thought, oh, that's a
Second
bit
service.
Roger-esque, but
Yep.
not for 5 minutes.
No, I hear you. That's good feel. You remember,
Yes.
speaking of
Mr.
Americans,
Sandgren has 2 challenges remaining.
Vince Spadia,
I do know, yeah.
real character of the game. And of course, Vince termed it Federance. And Federance is unparalleled shot making coupled with confidence.
He went through a patch where that was not available at all, didn't he?
No, too true. But he certainly knew what it felt like playing against that guy.
Yeah.
Advantage Sandgren.
He was an interesting character. What was his? He had the biggest losing streak there for a while.
Yeah. I want to say it was 16 or 17. And of course, I did a bit of commentary with Craig Rosetsky, and we always jab him a little bit because it was broken at Wimbledon, beating Greg, if memory serves.
Game Sandgren.
Good
First
start
game, second set.
for tennis in this second set.
Here's Roger. Look how much time he's got on the ball.
And how much time he's taken away. He's already a metre inside the baseline. Sandgren is a metre behind it. You can see the backspin. And he's like a goalkeeper coming forward there. Just shutting down the angles, just in case the American got there. Off the ball movement, so important in our sport. In fact, any sport, you want to be a good soccer player. The runs you make. Oh, he missed that. Cricket, if the guy's bowling well to you, shuffling back and forward, changing the length of the delivery.
What about a boxer? Even more pivotal.
Mm-hmm. There's a bit of Federance right there.
Love 13.
I think it's the way you've got to go as well. You've got to be prepared to use your lines. If you can't drive your lines and actually get Roger working across there physically, he eventually gets hold of you.
(15-13).
You happy with that shot selection there?
I don't mind, yeah. I like them to go after it. If they miss, at least sends a little bit of a signal that I'm prepared to attack it in that zone. You? Did you like it?
I don't like the miss in the net. Yes.
Mr. Sandgren challenging the call on the right near sideline.
I'm with
The ball
Tennis
for
there.
him.
I thought it was more out than in.
So the play he was going to have on it was going to be just to dish up a lob because he was on the full stretch. So if it's correct, brings his 2 break points.
(15-14).
Good challenge. And as you suggested,
Thank you.
does indeed bring up 2 break points.
Game Sandgren.
It's very un-Federer-like.
Sandgren leads 2 games to 1.
I almost get the sense that he's not seeing the ball, having played in the evening, now playing in, you know, the sunshine, bright daylight today. Something is just not quite right. Shanking a couple of forehands in the opening set.
Halt.
But hasn't it been unsettled all the way through his draw? Yes, there've been some really
Yes.
high. There's
TT.
been some really high-level tennis for sure. But just, I think it's been a little bit of a. He would say it's been a roller coaster ride for him.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't yet found the pureness of his game.
(15-all). (30-15).
Here it is again. He's just shaking his head, and he knows.
And he took a big breath there. Well, you never normally see that, Robbie, to be perfectly honest, where he just tries to release himself and relax. Very unusual. And the reason why we say this is because the misses are quite large. You know, they're not small misses.
Game Sandgren.
That is the perfect way to punctuate this lead. Sandgren with the early break. He leads 3-love.
Sandgren leads 3 games to 1.
I also think that this is very important for Sandgren as well, to have the awareness of what's going on the other side of the court, not be overawed and actually realize that Federer isn't playing great at the moment.
If you can't, yeah, you'd naturally feel that, wouldn't you? That there's a lot of balls off his racket that aren't actually finding their mark. And you can definitely, if you can't see that as a tennis player, your awareness is very poor, because Roger's either playing very electric where everything's going on, even when he's playing against the highest level of player, but right now he's really struggling to find his rhythm.
Time.
If you're joining us for the first time today, a very warm welcome from Melbourne Park. It's Rod Laver Arena. Men's quarterfinal action. It's an American and a familiar Swiss. Roger Federer winning the opening set, just the one breaker serve separating the two. That's Swiss Maestro down a break early on here in the second. Roger Rashid alongside me, Rob Koenig. Given the fact that Federer is struggling a little bit with the ground strokes, timing's not quite there. We're going to see more of this, you reckon?
Well, he generally has different, you know, he has different ways of winning points. So how was that for a serve and almost? Well, it was a serve and volley, but it was delayed. It was delayed. He came and took that on down at a low angle and hit that with a swiping forehand. So tennis should he just needs to stay the course and just understand he shouldn't get anxious about the scoreline and just play the individual point. It's hard to do against the greats.
Be great just to sit down with him now, just a quick timeout.
Yeah, what are you thinking? What's happening?
Yes.
I love that in sport. Let's mic him up.
That's what I'm thinking, guys. Time to get the show on the road.
Let's cross down now live to Roger. Roger, what has been happening?
Federer
leads
3-1.
No, I'm not feeling much, to be honest. I'm just battling away. And he is. But he'll keep the scoreboard pretty tight, and there's always the energy up the other end that you are playing.
An all-time great, yeah.
And doesn't matter whether you're a break up, you feel like they're still in front.
15 love.
And there's always that expectation that they are going to play better, and that can affect you. You don't stay present.
We talked about tennis's first serve had to be better. It was 45% in the first set. It's now up to 60% in this set. So more balls landing.
40 love.
And he's only lost 2 points when that first deal has gone in. Nice shape to that one.
Got quite a good composure, hasn't he, the American? He's pretty relaxed on the court. There's not a lot of tension in his body for a pretty big man. I like that. Wanted to call it, didn't he, Robbie? Wanted to stop the play again.
40-30.
It's pretty tight on the baseline.
That's the one there. A good long look at it. Still a game point, though. Well, a very important hold for Sandgren.
Sandgren
The
leads
edges
4 games to
ever
1.
closer to grabbing the second set. 4-1 it is.
Time.
Well, the smile says it all as he just looks over to his camp. He's pretty happy with proceedings right now. He'll be delighted at his progress this week. Of course, on the live ranking, he's up to number 56 in the world. Started the Oz Open ranked 100. If he does go on to beat Federer here, he'd be up to career high 35.
Thirteen love.
Just feel like he needed this type of game quick. Throw the balls down the other end and see what gets dished up.
As you like to say, a little bit of licorice all sorts in that rally.
Yeah, there were. I like my licorice all sorts. Good variety. Brings some interesting outcomes. I like the fact that Tennys Sandgren are prepared to attack Roger and especially the second serve. Not just looking to start the rally.
Game Federer. Sandgren leads 4 games to 2.
This is just the second time in Sandgren's career he's come up against a top 5 player. Good news is he won the first one, and it was right here at the Oz Open, beating Dominic Thiem in the first 5-set match he ever played. So that was impressive. That was a fantastic run he had back in 2018 to the quarterfinals here.
Mr. Federer,
You
challenging the
remember
ball on the left center service line.
he lost to in the semi-finals eventually that year.
He lost to another player who had an unbelievable run in
15 love.
Chung.
Mr. Federer has
That's
2
right.
challenges to win.
Because Hyun Chung has been bothered with injuries the last 12 months.
Yeah, it's an interesting career that he's going to have now, I think, because he retired with blisters, didn't he, in the semis?
Yeah, holes in his feet.
Yeah, they were. Actually, you're right, they were holes.
The blister sound a little soft, doesn't it?
Yeah, it did. At the time, you think, come on, blisters, how do you? But then when he actually showed them to the world, that was a different story.
(30-15).
Maybe Stan Wawrinka along the way, as well as Dominic Thiem.
And you can see why. He's quite level-headed. He's calm, and he's got a strong body, so he can stay the journey.
Light first service.
First verbal from Roger there, just egging himself on. That down the line shot, how good is it? Well handled. It's not easy. Good hustle from Roger to put that up there. It wasn't deep, but it was high. And Tennys Sandgren had to sit under it at 30 all, 4-2.
Game, Sandgren.
He has been outstanding behind his deal,
Sandgren leads
forging
5-2.
towards leveling things up here at a set apiece. You know, we often speak about injury timeouts, getting medical assistance. This is what I think you got to do as a player. No medical assistance, you've got a problem, you've got to fix it yourself. You've got to know how to wrap your ankle, got to tape the fingers, put on the old kinesio tape, whatever it might be. 1 against 1, who can stay out there the longest and get the job done. You won't have any of this nonsense with medical timeouts. Got to do your own running repairs.
Time.
Plenty of color here. What an awesome aerial view that is. Of course, these courts get relayed every year. The word from the vast majority of the players is that it's playing a little slower this year than historically.
And then it quickens up through the tournament because you've got the wear and tear of the players on the court, so that it does speed up as we get through the back end.
2-5, Federer trying to stay in this one. That's another return right in the block hole.
Roger, I'm going to call it in and we're going to replay the point.
What?
So, tennis, the line umpire said something just before Roger hit the ball. I'm going to call the ball in and replay this point.
Ladies and gentlemen, the line umpire made a sound during the rally, so we're going to replay the point.
So, is the chair umpire saying that he said something before the ball even landed? He's called the ball before it landed?
Before Roger hit it.
Let's have a listen again.
Love 15.
Yeah, I think Roger's got away with one there.
15
And the fact that it's a half volley, for my money, it's not going to really affect the kind of shot he's going to play. And Tennys is laughing.
Well, if you're him right now, if you're
15-13.
tennis, you're just getting on with it because you don't want to wake up the bear.
Yeah.
Don't poke the bear right now because at the moment, sleeping.
I like that visual.
Unforced error count just continuing to climb and create opportunities.
14 of those bad boys in this set. It brings up 2 set points for the American.
And you feel like Roger needs to do a little bit more of this, almost full time, just to sort of sharpen things up, his reactions, or just stimulate some flow.
Sandgren outlasts Federer. And he bags the second set courtesy of a double break. It's a centerpiece. Wow.
Well, you said it, Robbie, and let's take a look at what happened in the second set by the numbers. 45% of serve. That was his first serve for Tennys Sandgren. Look at that in the second, 72%. So that was an outstanding transaction for him in the second set. 9 winners, 6 unforced errors. He didn't actually have the opportunity to hit a lot of unforced serves because they were coming off the other side of the court. Roger was all out of sorts, and he continued that way in that set, just struggling to find his range. And the American did an outstanding job of just being true to himself and just putting his tennis on the court. Nothing special, just his game of tennis and the way he goes about it. And he stayed calm through the process, acknowledging that the player at the other end, who has a lot of greatness attached to what he does day to day, was in a little funk. And that's why we sit at 1 set apiece.
Well, a couple of Tennessee fans that have made it all the way out from the US of A to watch their man in action, and they'll be delighted with what they've seen in the last half an hour or so.
Third set, Sandgren to serve.
Federer
Thank you,
in a
ladies
bit
and
of a battle
gentlemen.
here.
Ready for play.
Sandgren to start the third.
15 love.
So what Roger did in his last match when he lost the first set against Fucsovics, he actually went even bigger. He got more aggressive, more inside the court, and decided just, okay, I've got to stick my chest out. I've got to start owning the match. Be interesting to see whether that takes place here through the rallies, considering his timing's not there. So let's see how he shapes his set. Good start from the American.
Wait, please. love.
He's winning the ace race 11-2. And that's hard to believe. Federer in 2 sets of tennis has had just 2 aces.
40-15.
Outstanding from Sandgren, going toe-to-toe with Federer. Doing a great job of keeping him at bay.
First game, third set.
Well, that was an important game, wasn't it? You've won the second set. To just be able to, again, keep ahead on the scoreboard. Let's look at what shifts Roger will make in his game. Because I think right now there needs to be.
Love 15.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a seismic shift.
Yeah. And there'll be a lot of concern in that camp right there. Wow. And these misses,
Love 13.
folks, aren't, why I say wow, because they're just big misses. When Roger misses, they're small margins. When the greats miss, they're small margins, and we can accept those. But this will be playing games inside the mind of Roger right now.
15-13.
Do you think there could be any injury concerns? The lower back historically has played up when conditions have been cool. I'm just wondering if the back of the Millman and Fuchsovich match, if there was anything in the evening that might have affected him. I mean, conditions are warm today. Beautiful, ideal.
They're about perfect conditions. It's just, we just haven't seen that fire, the energy, the explosiveness out of the body. And there's normally an abundance of it. To me, and there's the hit of the racket. To me, it's like
40.
he's playing Novak, where Novak's been able to force him off the baseline and push him around the court, and but generally even in that match he's fighting forward and he'll actually make his way forward. But in this match there's not heavy movement inside the court.
Game, Sandgren.
Once again, it's the forehand of Federer that breaks down.
Sandgren leads 2-0.
Danny Troxler, his physio, just breathing a huge sigh, as if to say,
and as we know,
on there?
Yeah, and as we know, the champions are stubborn, aren't they?
Yep.
They just still try things. Like Roger played that shot there inside in. It was a break point down.
They just believe they're going to make it still.
Yeah.
Love 15.
Rogers, when you look through Rogers' lenses, he sees a big court. He sees a lot of opportunity in every part of the tennis court up the other end of the other end. So he's out there trying to work things and try things. It's hard just to play percentage ball through the middle of the court, back and forth, and get himself into a dogfight. It's not naturally his DNA. He wants to make something happen.
Love 30.
That's the sort of point we were talking about, where you're just playing percentages back, forehand, cross court, back to each other. That's the type of point you probably need to play more of, just to get the feel like you're in the battle.
Could that be the rhythm finder for Federer? He's got 3 break points. That's nicely done.
15,
Very
14.
nicely done. First serve percentage in the set.
Even in that previous point, Robbie, that Roger actually played a chip forehand inside the lines. It wasn't even pressing him wide. It was like the reaction of the legs aren't firing. Concerning.
(30-40).
You can hear Federer absolutely fuming. Not sure if that was German or just colourful language, but the chair umpire, the lines person, is saying something to the chair umpire here.
Correlation audible obscenity warning, Mr. Federer.
So I think he
Can't
did.
repeat that, Roger. No, I heard it kind of, but she heard it very clearly. Roger.
Interesting. Let's listen in.
We thought we heard something. I wasn't sure. Sometimes he will get animated in Swiss German.
Thank you.
That's
ready for play. Thank you.
The chair umpire wasn't sure either, but then when the linesman has gone over and said what's happened, she heard it clearly. You can see the proximity to Federer there. And of course, that is a perfectly legitimate. Still break point, though.
Mr. Sandgren challenging the call on the left service line. The ball was called out.
There's a lot going on at the moment.
Was that just a spread of time to let things just sort of relax as well?
Second service.
Well handled by everybody, though. That was a big-time
Yes.
backhand from the American.
Mr. Sandgren has 2 challenges remaining.
Had to sit and wait for the conversation to finish. Still facing a break point.
Advantage Sandgren. Game Sandgren.
That is a massive hold in the context of this match. Big props to Tennys Sandgren for dealing with a fair few things in that game. He wins 5 points on the bounce, 3 love it is.
The physio, please.
Roger calling out for the physio as well. So, Robbie, you mentioned before that maybe is there some tension in his body? Is there a back complaint because of the volume of work that he had to do? And he made mention of how it took him a while to respond after the Melbourne match.
Ladies and gentlemen, the physio has been called to the courts.
Martina Veljovic.
If you heard it so clearly, why didn't you call it? You think she's 100% sure? She's from Switzerland, right? So she's sure, you're not sure, but it's like the same distance. Give me a break, you know?
Here is Paul Ness, one of the physios, and it looks like it's going to be treatment that is required in an area that is sensitive, therefore they have to go off court and do it.
Well, you think when you've done, you know, you look at the volume of work that he did, especially the Melbourne match where he's getting pushed around and jerked around in different areas, courtesy of the quality of work from Melbourne. You know, that's when you haven't played those type of matches leading in, you haven't had the volume, that's hamstrings, groins, you know, there's a lot of activity going on in delicate parts of the physical body. That's why matches are important before a lead into an event like this, just so there's some conditionings around the stresses that matches present. I know that they tried to stimulate that type of environment leading in, Robbie, but the reality is it never does because the tension's not the same.
Yeah, it's a good point you make, and that leads into the fact that it's the first time that Federer has not played an event before the Australian Open since 2013.
Yeah, it's a long time.
You know, he's played Brisbane a couple of years. I think it was years 14 to 16, and then the Hopman Cup the last couple of years.
Yeah, and got a lot of matches in and actually played some great tennis leading in. So, and as I said, it's stress related. It's not necessarily that he hadn't done the work, and you can put in the hours on the practice court. But we all know matches bring up different tensions and stresses, and that actually forms around the muscles as well, and your tendons and joints.
That's the only time I ever remember Roger having a medical timeout was in the 5th set against Nadal here in the 2017 final. I can almost never remember him taking a medical timeout.
Very rarely does.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Federer is now receiving an off-court medical timeout.
So the reason why there was a suggestion that was just announced was because first there's an analysis process which take place once they actually decide that they've found or they've decided on what that looks like. then the treatment will take place, and that's when it's called. A lot of work to do. And for Tennys Sandgren, he's in an extremely healthy position. After an hour and 23 minutes, Robbie, there was no way he would have thought this would be the scenario on Rod Laver.
It's certainly not what we expected. All our focus will be on this Rod Laver Arena in the coming 6 days or so, as we get to the sharp end of the first major of the new decade. Previous decade, I think it's fair to say, was dominated by one Novak Djokovic. Nadal did pretty well, won a fair few majors and Masters 1000s, but it was Novak was the man. Who will it be in this decade? I get the feeling that both Rafa and Djokovic are going to be around for a fair few years, especially Novak. The way he plays, his body just seems so resilient, so flexible. Of course, he's doing now what Federer was doing in the early part of his career, just winning so easily, getting to the tail end of these important events. Just checking on that medical timeout. That's right, Federer took it after losing the fourth set, didn't he, against Rafael Nadal in that 2017 epic.
For Tennys Sandgren, you're not doing anything different. So when Roger comes out, there will be a cheer. There'll be some energy in the room for him. It's good energy there. But for Tennys Sandgren, it's all about just business as usual. Just keep on the same pathway, stay in your lane, put the blinkers on. He's done a great job of that so far.
This is a guy who's spent many a year playing at the challenger level. He's often spoken about the fact that guys at challenger level don't get enough credit, how tough they are. You know.
Can you ask for pair on the next changeover?
Sandgren also looking for something on the next changeover.
I'm going to try to do another changeover. No. I'm going to for him. But I'm going to try to not take the timeout.
He's just going to try and repair the tape, I think, around his knee, because I think it's coming off a little.
So it's been busy last 10 minutes or so for Mariana, Serbian chair umpire.
Very good as well.
Yep, one of the best in the business. And it was interesting that Federer...
This is a minute or so over time.
Oh, Roger Federer has just had a medical timeout. Those have been few and far between throughout the course of his career. Roger, Rashid and myself were just throwing our minds back to 2017 when he took one after losing that fourth set, I believe it was, to Rafael Nadal. Apart from that, nothing else springs to mind.
Thank you. Ready for play. Thank you.
Federer and a world of hurt you down a break in the third. And it might not just be on the scoreboard, but perhaps there are some issues physically. We'll have to wait and see. Tense times in the Federer camp. That was 173 kilometers an hour.
And it looked quiet. Wasn't a lot going with the body. Neither was that. That was very restrictive.
We know that The back has been problematic throughout the course of his career. It goes into spasm occasionally.
30-15.
And he's had to deal with it.
And if you are getting some treatment on your back, you can come out, and it may take you a little time to shake that treatment off as well.
Let first service. Game Federer. Sandgren leads 3-1.
Take a look at the serve here. Let's see if there's really full. Too bad, but I still think there's restriction.
Yeah, you can't really see the acceleration.
No.
That's what we're looking for. You don't really see it in the slow motion. Remember, World Tour finals, the final of those in London 2014. Federer having to withdraw in the finals there because of back issues. Guess who he was due to play? Novak Djokovic.
Yeah.
Remember here that epic semi against Stan. Won that in a deciding set tiebreaker. Couldn't take to the match court the next day.
30-love. Let first service.
This next little period is going to be very interesting.
Game
Gave up on that one, didn't even go.
Sandgren
leads 4-1.
looking very good here at 4-1 in the third.
Enjoying the match and share it on social media using the hashtag EmiratesPlay, and you could be heading to Dubai with Emirates. So head to ekcam.com. You're going to be in it to win it.
This is not an injury concern. This is just to continue to keep the taping in place.
Time.
Well, Roger Federer has only ever given a walkover to his opponents on 4 occasions throughout the course of his career. The first was in 2006 against James Blake. I remember the one in Doha when he played Joe Wilfred Tsonga, because I had to go on court and announce it with him. The Tour finals, I mentioned that in 2014 against Novak, and of course in Rome. He wasn't able to take to the court the following day against Stefanos Tsitsipas. after saving match points
15
against Borna Coric previous day. Roger has never not finished a match once he started. No retirements, Roger.
Impressive. Extremely impressive. And I think, you know, we made point by how we weren't seeing that activation, that firepower come out of his body, electricity where he's actually on top of the court and inside the court. We have barely seen that at any level today. Not a good sign.
40-11.
Roger will be hoping so, and when you don't see that, you know, to get inside the court like that, you need your firepower. You need your legs to be firing and exploding your feet. You can see here, Roger, he's just, this ball here, watch this. That's just survival at the moment. Even that.
Game, Federer.
So what he'll be hoping for, Robbie, is just over time, he would have taken a few tablets probably, maybe some muscle relaxers or something the doctor would have given him, plus a little bit of massage, and maybe over time, if he can just stay here, because we're not against a time clock, that things loosen up and he's able to activate the way he would like to. So he knows there's a bit of scoreboard time available to him.
$15.
And for Tennys Sandgren, it's not getting too involved in what you see at the other end of the court, acknowledging it and putting it in the bank, but not actually playing safety around it. Your job's to do your job. It's not a position that Tennys Sandgren has been in at all.
In terms of the size of the stage, I'm sure he's played against opponents who have had injuries.
Yeah.
But so much on the line from here.
30-all.
And how easy is it just to keep that normal game going, to keep doing what you've been doing? It's easier said than done.
Oh yeah, it's not, especially when you look up the other end.
Mm-hmm.
And if he serves like he is at the moment, he's 68% of first serves in the court. I'm not sure what the winning ratio is, Robbie, but it's pretty 87% in this set. They are big numbers. It's going to help him go a long way.
Mr. Federer turning the ball on the left outside line. The ball is called in.
This is a big one. He would love for this to have got a piece of the line. Oh, yes. It's one of those blazing vectors from Sandgren, who extends his lead even further. It's 5-2.
Sandgren leads 5 games to 2. Mr. Federer has 2 challenges remaining.
They would have known.
Going in?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Whether Roger had back issues this morning, if if it was tightening up as a result of all the matches he's played, or if it's something he just woke up with. But it was interesting in his post-match press conference after beating Fucsovic, he said that he needed a couple of countdowns to get out of bed.
Yeah, that's a big... that's laying the cards on the table, isn't it?
Set number 3 is following a very similar sort of route as to what we saw in set number 2. Tennys Sandgren breaking Roger Federer in the second game and then breaking him again in the 6th. I mean, he'd love to copy and paste that from set number 2. He's got a chance to do it and take a 2-1 lead. Federer struggling big time.
Mr. Sandgren challenging the call on the left far sideline. The ball is called in.
I mean, this would be one heck of a pickup because the return was outstanding.
15 love.
There you go.
Mr. Sandgren has one challenge remaining.
That is a pure strike. It's so important just to keep taking energy out of Federer, making life as difficult for him as possible.
40-15.
Interesting game because Roger needs this game. He needs, regardless of what happens, he needs to be able to make Tennys Sandgren serve the set out and lead 2-1. And also, if he does, and the ability to get tight. But you'd want to start serving first in the 4th and not be chasing. He's done that a few times, hasn't he? He's done that jump backhand. Handled it pretty well, but he's still going for the balls. When it's there to be hit, he loves getting after the second serve, which I think has been a great play from him. And he's a big body at the net when he gets there. Roger didn't even think about coming back for that one.
Set point Sandgren. An electrifying forehand. But is it too little too late in this set? that backhand side, isn't it?
Advantage Sandgren.
Whenever he turns to that backhand side, whether it's off the baseline or we just saw at the net there, there's a heavy restriction visually from us.
Second set point for the American.
Use. Advantage Sandgren.
And there's the difference. Normally for that shot, Roger's a bit closer to the baseline. He's all over it. His feet are really active. That was virtually just stand and deliver.
Sandgren, not sure about the serve. Juice number 4.
Advantage Sandgren.
Quickly followed by set point number 4 for Sandgren.
Advantage Federer.
Just a bad choice there. Went a long way around to get to that ball. I think he knew it.
Amazing how that happens, right? You have all those set points, can't make a return, or you can't win a point on the ad side. Of course, the first time the server gets to his game point, you win it.
Advantage Sandgren.
Well, he tried to hustle there, Roger. You could see there, went out to the forehand, then aggressively moved to the backhand side as well to try and come over that ball.
I want to be 5th time lucky for Tennys Sandgren.
Let for service. Use. Advantage Sandgren.
And the reality is, as we know, that doesn't matter how good you are, if your feet aren't moving and those quick little steps, the adjustment steps aren't there to make impact on the ball, this sort of thing happens.
It shows you the subtleties of the sport.
Sandgren.
Sandgren breaks.
By
And just as we saw in the second set,
new balls, please.
it's a double break that gives Tennys Sandgren a 2-1 lead. He is very much in charge of things now. Well, it's a great watch if you're American. It's a pretty tough watch if you're a Federer fan.
Yeah, and there's many of them around the world, but it is, as you said, it's a great watch if you're American, and he's done a great job, really, of just putting his, we've spoken about it over and over, just putting your game on the court and staying in your lane, and he's done that extremely well. Again, from the first set to now, his numbers, second and third set of first serves in percentages and the outcomes have been extraordinary. They've been fantastic. They've been helped, for sure, Robbie, by the opponent, who's definitely wounded, and we know that he's decided not to continue on with any other treatment. Paul Ness came out, the ATP physio, spoke to him, and he ushered him away. But you've got to give the American all the credit in the world, because it's, from his side of the court, it's been a completely sound one.
Tennys Sandgren is just a set away from making it through to his very first semi-final at a major, and those American fans will be absolutely delighted. But it must be said that Federer is struggling big time. Seems to be lower back issues. It's plagued him throughout the course of his career.
Sandgren to serve.
On 4 occasions, he's had to give walkovers to opponents the following day. He's never retired mid-match, as Roger, throughout the course of his career, which is quite unbelievable. He's just remembered that he needs to change his rackets, so it really is all happening right now for the man.
Thank you. Ready for play.
We used to call him monogrammed maestro.
And again, you just have, there are moments in matches. So how do you take care of this game if you're Tennys Sandgren? You need to just play your game. It's a big moment for him. The first 5 minutes right here. Hold your first service game. So pivotal to what may happen in the rest of this match. Got to keep suffocating one of the all-time greats. There's Roger, a little bit of variety, bit of difference.
15-all.
Let's also look for what Roger attempts to do. He's made a lot of unforced errors off the back of the court, just trying to go with Tennys Sandgren because of the physical discomfort. Let's see if he changes those dynamics. What we do know, Robbie, is that
15-13.
This fan base inside Rod Laver Arena now, they'll be pulling for Roger. So he's now the official underdog in this match.
Yes.
Isn't that amazing? And they'll ride him home here.
Let's for service.
Be interesting to know what the win predictor would be throwing out, wouldn't it?
Good shot. Well, that'll go down as a winner.
Because what would you say right now? You've seen what's unfolded.
My numbers would be 85-15.
In favour of the American.
Yes. Given how much Federer is struggling physically. Spasms and backs don't just get undone mid-match. He knows what it's like to have a great champion on the ropes. Round of 16, French Open, Gustavo Kuerten, third set, couple of match points for Mike Russell. Couldn't get it done. Different circumstances, though. This guy looks ready to take down Federer.
First game, fourth set.
And we've spoken about the fact of Federer's longevity, looking to become the oldest man to reach the Aussie Open semi-final since Kenny Rosewell. The win predictors got Sandgren 61-31.
I'd be happy with those numbers if I was Roger right now.
Excuse me, 69-31. That's a 61% swing. Do you agree with it?
That's probably okay with me.
60-40. You think this match is 60-40 in favour of Sandgren right now? That's it?
You still have to get over the line.
Okay.
Very hard to take a champion out. You just mentioned Michael Russell, his current coach. It's not that easy to do. You can get there.
Okay. I just think physically what we've seen in sets 2 and 3,
yeah,
the way back for Federer, it's so limited.
And the other difficulty for Roger is that Tennys Sandgren plays a pretty standard lock-in game. There's not a lot. You know, he's got a pretty standard, when I say imagination, that's not a negative. It's just he keeps things pretty simple. The only complication will be mentally for him as we go down the stretch. Like the way he's kept the power on the ball too. He's continually kept power on the ball, speed on the ball, so it's actually got to Roger. Roger likes to generally, we spoke about him taking your time away. Tennys Sandgren's done that and actually been gifted the courtesy of also having a slow Roger Federer today.
One game more.
And there's no doubt as you get older, you know, it becomes harder and harder just to maintain that physique. You put it through the ringer for so many years. And time is a thief. He's not subtle. He's a thug.
Mr. Sandgren challenging the call on the left service line. The ball is called out. Second service. Love 15. Mr. Sandgren has 2 challenges remaining. 15 all.
Nice close.
30-15.
Good awareness here. Quick with his feet to be able to take that above the net height. Then you've got options.
It's just pedal to the middle.
40-15.
Same posture from Coach Russell. He wants his charge to deliver the same blows.
Game Sandgren.
Oh, this is impressive. And that it's so easy to waver given what's
Sandgren
going on the
leads
other side of the
2
court,
games
but
to 1.
the American hasn't. He leads 2-1 fourth set.
Well, he's been impressive. There's no doubt about that. He stayed the course. He's just used his game really to perfection. His patterns of play have stayed very similar. There's been no change in that throughout the course of the match. And that's an outstanding tennis footprint.
Tennys Sandgren with a 2-1 lead against Roger Federer, who is in a world of hurts.
Quite the right song at the right time.
Yep. Pretty apt,
bottom,
isn't it?
Staying alive.
Yeah.
That's what Roger Federer is trying to do right here. Bit better impact there with Roger off that forehand side when he went across there and played that down the line.
Thank you.
That was also
30
quicker
left.
off the when he landed. Then Robin actually came forward to the net. He had some acceleration out of his feet. Let's just look out and see whether there is a little shift with his movement. Definitely better. Oh, what a pass though. I called it too early.
30-15.
Well, Roger's definitely pushing himself as there's a lot more alertness coming out of the feet, but this was excellent from Tennys Sandgren.
All.
It's one of the biggest serves we've seen from Federer in a while. Coming in at 193.
Game Federer.
He is hanging in
2
here
games all.
by the skin of his teeth.
That was a definite push, no doubt about that. Definite change in his energy levels. Instantly see that and see if he can impact on the scoreboard here.
15 love.
Not if Tennys Sandgren serves like that. That's his 17th ace. It's impressive, Robbie.
Please, thank you. No. 40 love. Game Sandgren.
Edging ever closer to the finish line here is Tennys Sandgren.
Sandgren leads 3 games to 2.
3-2, fourth set. It's a tough watch, isn't it? He's given the sport so much. You never want to see him look so frail.
Yeah, and we've been used to just every time we go and watch him, where the expectations, I think, from the audience now is to, you know, the sporting audience globally, when you watch Roger, is that, wow, we're going to see some exciting tennis. This is going to be top billing. And so when we do see this, we're quite shocked. But he is human, and he's going. He'll be 39 this year, and that's the reality. He does have days where he just wakes up and things aren't quite right, and this is obviously one of them where it's a cumulative effect, but he's having to deal with that, and I'm sure he's trying to work through this process, there's no doubt.
AO 2020 has seen some incredible matches thus far. First major of the new decade, seeing something quite unusual unfold here. Federer down 2-1 against Tennys Sandgren. He's already had a medical timeout for what we suspect is back issues. He's been serving and volleying a lot more of late as Roger. He has been well below par in the movement department. But you've got to give Tennys Sandgren big props. He's stuck to his guns. He's made a lot of balls. He's just been relentless. And as my co-commentator has said, he's just been a good plotter. Made life very difficult for the 20-time major champion. You can see he can't bend down if you're joining us for the first time. Anything that's relatively low, Federer not able to bend the back. He doesn't have that liquid whip that we're so used to seeing on his ground strokes. That serve just 178 kilometers an hour.
It's been about the average, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm. And worth reminding you that Federer has
30
never
all.
retired mid-match his entire career. And I don't think he's about to do so now. He will see this one out irrespective of how much pain he's feeling.
Will that be a moment in the tennis match?
40-30.
Brilliant hands. We know his brilliance around the tennis court, but Tennys Sandgren had an opportunity because once Roger led that way, Robbie, there was no coming back.
Yes.
And even though Federer won the opening set, we were concerned about the number of unforced errors he was making on that forehand side, weren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, we spoke highly about whether we thought there'd be another gear or two. We were expecting that.
Hangs on in there, like the champion he is. And
3 games all.
Yeah, stuck at 3-all here in this fourth set. Just not knowing what to expect next.
The one thing he hasn't been able to do is get ahead on the count for Tennys Sandgren. He's been actually looking after the first couple of points, and so staying ahead of the scoreboard here. This is a pivotal part for Roger if he can get involved early and create some real energy in the room.
Yeah, the unreturned serves in this set sitting at 50 now, 50%. 8 out of 16 have not come in. It'll make life comfortable for you.
So there's the polish from the American side of the court. He's been able to get ahead. Quietens the audience. It's a great serve when you've got someone who's wounded, who needs the explosive power out of the blocks to cover it.
Game Sandgren.
Another strong hold from the American. He leads 4-3, fourth set. It's a 68-second hold for tennis. It's so important just to have the mindset. The only way that he can get to the finish line is 1 point at a time. You cannot get impatient. You can't rush things. It's not going to happen any quicker. Whether you have... There's no bonus points in tennis, Rog. The brutality of the scoring system, a spectacular winner like this counts for just as much as an unforced error. Well, we mentioned the fact that Roger has been struggling on serve. It's been clearing the obvious. This is the first serve. And you can see set 1, Federer 186. Set 4, the average down to 179. It's a significant drop-off. 10%.
Big numbers in our game.
Maybe a little less than that.
15 love.
But for someone like Roger, who's not serving regularly over 200, it is an important drop-off. He relies so heavily on the combination of the pace and accuracy. If he doesn't have one of them, it comes back. But that's a touch of Federer genius.
30 love.
See how well he's clipped it, all the backspin. That thing checks and goes sideways.
$30-15.
That's impressive. Absolutely outstanding from Tennys Sandgren there. There was nothing poor about the approach from Roger Federer, but look at the ability to get the left hand on the racket and actually bring that ball around. Don't think they're happy.
Don't think they're Sandgren fans, do we?
No. Got to give him a little bit of love for that. That's a beauty. And he's done it all day, Robbie. Second serve, he's stepped in and he's decided to hit it. There's been no hesitation from him, and I've loved the way he's gone about that. He's been very committed to that, like he has the rest of his game. And he's getting rewarded.
Advantage Federer. Yes.
Ljubicic there. When Roger plays, there's no real engagement with his team, so they're just sitting there and they're obviously feeling for him.
Advantage Federer.
Most players in these circumstances would have probably engaged with their support team and just let them know what was going on. Rogers, he just generally keeps his head down.
Game Federer.
I think it's fair to say the crowd here in Rod Laver Arena has been pretty subdued. But they are doing their level best to get behind Federer. And that hold certainly has helped. He's done well to keep the scoreboard pressure on the American.
Thank you.
Sweaty palm territory now.
15 love.
Interesting play for me, Robbie, because that went through the legs when there was definitely a chance for Tennys Sandgren to get back and actually just put this in play, knowing that Roger's not mobile. 15 all. Let's have a look how this plays out.
He's done well to mop up anything short. Complete commitment to the shot. Anything with a little bit of width on has worked well, given the immobility of Roger at the moment.
Just loved his composure. It's very easy to play the other side of the court, isn't it?
Yep.
Has not changed his mindset.
50th winner that was.
(40-30). Game Sandgren.
Continues to impress on serve. Tennys Sandgren just a game away from his first semi-final at a major. 5-4 it is.
We've had a few different semi-finals, haven't we, at the Australian Open? It's always thrown up the odd individual. Carl Edmund got through, Sean got through.
Yeah, good point, Rog.
Will it be this man?
Wide words from the man after whom the stadium was named. Roger Federer with new balls serving to stay in the tournament.
Love 15.
His record here has been quite simply jaw-dropping.
Federer
Federer has only Rafael to reach the semi-finals here on 2 occasions. That's it. That's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's crazy.
One of his biggest serves over the last
30-15.
hour, 198 kilometres an hour. In fact, his fastest serve for this match.
Fault.
That's good stuff.
40-30.
Well, he had an enormous amount of time, didn't he? He was set on the ball. That's bread and butter for him.
Advantage, Sandgren.
It's been a tough watch if you're a Federer fan. Those in the Sandgren camp will know their man has earned this match point.
Fault.
And you don't blame him for going after that shot, but the longer the rally went, there were a few nerves. The anxiety was creeping up.
Thank you. Advantage, Sandgren.
Gets another chance.
He's so tight right now, isn't he? I mean, it's...
Well, as I mentioned, Robbie, you can get to the door, and the door can be opened, but it's not that easy to get both legs through.
Thank you. Court, please. Thank you. Let's for service.
That's more like it. Way to be brave.
Advantage, Sandgren.
I think we're pretty close to the last rights now. One heck of a return to bring up a third match point.
Great theatre. Imagine the roar if he gets out of this game.
Federer just feeding him forehand after forehand. And I'm surprised Sandgren keeps missing in the net.
Yeah.
At least get it past that first obstacle, right? Easier said than done. Well, he's still alive and kicking, but only just.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Ready for play. Thank you.
Here we go. You had those 4 matches, every forehand built up, everyone missed was actually add a little bit to your mindset. It changed a little bit. The crowd are involved. They're engaged in points now.
Let's first service.
You're now almost in an away Davis Cup tie if you're Tennys Sandgren. Big crowd. They're on one half of the court. And not for anything that he's done. He's played brilliantly. And we commend that, but they like seeing the champs, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Can you pick it up, please? Thank you. Thanks. That's fine.
Great serving. It's been an outstanding serving display since the first set, when he was at 45% first serves.
Up to 62 for the match now. Big sigh there, just trying to calm himself down. And this is where all the basics that the coach teaches you. Take deep breaths when you're feeling the pressure. Just bring that heart rate down. This is what you've got to put into practice. Get that routine going. He's made it.
30-14.
Perfection with a forehand.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
First break point in a while for Roger.
Use.
Normally it's a dangerous play, isn't it? Going inside in and then waiting for someone running onto a forehand.
And he's making it tough on himself, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Sandgren.
The beauty is he hasn't stopped going. He hasn't stopped coming forward. He keeps pressing forward. He trusts his game. Very easy to have a game where you took a few back steps after not capitalising on those match points.
Mr. Sandgren changing the call on the left baseline. The ball was called out.
Oh, just a little heavy-handed.
Yes. Mr. Sandgren has one challenge remaining.
Crowd are going to make this as tough as possible for Sandgren. Going to stir the emotions, test that heart rate.
Advantage Sandgren. Fault.
He's only got one challenge left.
Mr. Sandgren changing the call on the left service line. The ball is called out.
This is close. Once again, it's heavy-handed. Oh, what a second.
Game Sandgren.
Big-time play on a big-time points. Sandgren leads 6-5, fourth set.
Sandgren leads 6-5. Mr. Sandgren has no more challenges to make.
Robbie, I want to just throw something at you here. The ATP rankings, the last time Federer lost to an American player at a Grand Slam. Number 1, Quirton. 2, Agassi. Safin at 3. Hewitt 4. Ferrero, Rafter, Kafelnikov, Grosjean. Big names. Henman and Sampras round off the top 10. Roger Federer was 13.
That's how long ago it was.
Pick the year. Rough year.
I can't even think that far back. Hit me with the answer.
2001 against Andre Agassi. Amazing, isn't it?
Well, my co-commentator has just alerted me to the fact that the last time Roger Federer lost to an American player at a major, we've got to go back to 2001. We ended up losing to Andre Agassi. He really did have their number for a long time. And Roddick threw everything at him. Still wasn't enough. Of course, we referenced Andy Roddick's Hall of Fame
15 love.
induction speech where he talked about how the top 4 guys really annoyed the heck out of him, but he felt privileged to compete against them.
Picked on the forehand a little bit, haven't we? We've seen more errors coming off the forehand side as there's some tension in the body. And the misses have been predominantly into the net. He's jumped all over that one a couple of times.
You just need to free yourself up once or twice. And then the feeling starts to come back. Okay, this is how I need to do it. You need to start accelerating.
40-15.
Well, he's had so many problems on serve. That must have felt like a holiday.
6 games all tiebreak. Both players receive 1 additional challenge.
Roger Rashid, who's your money on?
I think we're going 5, Robbie.
Okay.
Or is that what I would like, just for the theatre?
1-0.
He threw everything at that point, didn't he?
Yep, he certainly did.
That was full commitment of the body. Nice work from Sandgren.
Wow, that forehand is looking shaky, isn't it? The chip had no feel on it, wasn't close. That's what pressure does to you.
He went there, didn't he? Went there and said, I'll roll the dice. Yes, he's hit some winners off my second serve from that spot, but I'm going there again because that's where the bulk of the errors are taking place. That's good tennis IQ, isn't it?
Just knowing what's going on the other side of the net, acutely aware of what it feels like for opponents to beat him. Well, that really has been a cornerstone of his game.
2-0.
Anytime he's been in a spot of bother, he has been able to serve himself out of trouble.
Impressive.
3-2. Sandgren.
When you're serving aces, Robbie, in a breaker, when it's 4-set breaker against someone like Roger Federer, and you can see he's jumping around, that shows some, that's good metal.
I always think this is a big point in a tiebreaker. If you can change ends with a 4-2 lead, it's a huge psychological boost. He can barely swing his racket on the forehand side.
3-0.
I'll be surprised if Federer serves it anywhere else in this tiebreaker.
Raise my leg a little bit. No, just knee into my calf.
Just watch what happens here. his knee.
I don't think there's much in it. Bit of shock.
Maybe he needed it.
Yeah. I don't think there's a lot in it, to be honest. Let's hope not.
Thank you. Ready for play.
Wow, that was a very passive ball.
4-3, Sandgren.
But I think for different reasons.
Yeah. We would normally see Roger climb all over that, hit that aggressively down the line and be in at net.
Sandgren.
Finding his first serve so vital, and it's paid him handsomely in this tie break.
Sandgren.
That serve has been an absolute beauty in the last 2 hours and 47 minutes for Tennys Sandgren. He's got another 3 match points.
Sandgren.
Just balls back through the middle for Roger there, just saying, okay, here it is. Go and win it. Come and take it.
Thank you. Sandgren.
4 match points come and gone. Tennys Sandgren has got one on his serve now. The shot that really has been the cornerstone of his game. Can he deliver one more hammer blow? Are you kidding me, Roger? I thought he was done and dusted, but how can you count this guy out?
Thank you. Quiet, please. Thank you.
Well done.
7-6.
That is not easy.
Sandgren.
You had time to think about it. It was like a golf shot, Robbie. You've hit a golf shot down there. It's not where you wanted it. You were 1 stroke up. He had time to think about it, then he landed the great blow.
Match point number 6 for Sandgren.
Goodness me.
7-all.
But talking about no unforced errors when it's mattered the most. When Roger's been behind the count, he's played through the middle and just has not had, has been flawless.
Here he comes.
Federer.
This is unbelievable drama. Set point now for Federer. Oh, what a blow.
Mr. Federer changing the call on the right near sideline. The ball was called in.
That's been extremely impressive. I mean, that is impressive.
Federer has 3 chances remaining.
8 points all.
And that was Roger moving at maximum pace. He was putting every single thing into that. He ran around two backhands to get to his forehand so he could control the environment.
Thank you. Ready for play, thank you.
Now a set point on his own deal. Federer sends the fans into a frenzy. We are indeed going the distance. Can you believe it? It's 2 sets all. Fasten your seatbelts, folks. That is why sport is the best form of reality TV, Rog. I keep on saying it.
Well, that was incredible. That was entertaining as you'd want to get, because the drama, the anticipation, the ability to save the match points, and how they were saved. There was unforced errors, but Roger just locking into some composed tennis through the middle of the court, just asking his opponent, Tennys Sandgren, to go and finish it off. Here it is. And these are the highlights. There were some changes in Roger's game. There's no doubt about it. He was actually trying to use the forward part of the court a little bit more. Yes, he was moving forward. That was great reflexes, but he's also bringing Tennys Sandgren into court a little bit more with a few of the deft chips that he likes to play in the service box areas. But then it was just about the theatre. Should have been over. There's no doubt about that. But you've got to beat the greats. You've got to run through the finishing line. And how about that for a save? The top spin volley. And here's the roar.
Don't count me out just yet.
I did it in the break. Okay? I did it in the future with my decided to change it. So it's not the same. So you can say if I did, that's not right. That's different. It's different, right? He's doing it after the changeover time. So it counts as a back again. So it counts as back again. Right, so I'm saying this counts as back again.
So I think Tennys Sandgren at the change of ends there, just chatting to the umpire, because Federer, after Tennys had returned from the bathroom, decided to take his own bathroom break. And Sandgren was questioning why he didn't do it immediately.
Final set.
Which is fair comment. The umpire, not sure she quite had the correct answer there.
Federer to serve. Thank you, ladies and
quite
gentlemen.
lenient. It will count as a bathroom break, I believe, now for Federer. He's just seen himself on the big screen there. The live player's on.
15 love.
I mean, I don't know if I even want to look at that win predictor at the 1 love. I don't know what it's going to be saying now.
I think it'll be interesting. I mean, that was awesome drama. I think Tennys Sandgren will probably stay the course, to be perfectly honest. I think he's got a nice, strong mind. Yeah, he'll be upset for sure. He'll be playing a few of those over at times, but not right now. It's whether Roger can keep that level up. And why I say that, because we know he's dealing with his own circumstances, so can the energy of the crowd, the environment right now, allow him to play that tennis where he wasn't missing? There were no unforced errors coming off his racket. What do you think? It's a tough one, isn't it?
40-15.
I'm hoping Tennys Sandgren plays at that level, so we get that.
Yeah, we both know how difficult it is to forget about match points when you've had it for a win like this. And it's not just any win, is it? It's the biggest result of your career on one of the biggest stages against one of the greatest of all time our sport has to offer.
Not now, young man. Look at the camp.
And even Tony's got the finger out. Alessandro's pretty fired up too. Boys at Team 8. Fully invested in this contest. I think this is a massive service game for Sandgren right now. He just needs to steady the ship here. The finish line is looking a long way away now.
Hasn't Roger's movement changed a little bit, and whether that's just the energy of the crowd and what's happened, and there's no doubt his adrenaline would be at a high right now, but as soon as the energy's changed through the legs, it gives you the outcomes off the racket.
15-13.
Needed that calming serve.
He's his coach, and the white hat Tennys Sandgren's coach has alluded to. He will know exactly how his charge is feeling now, having a match point, round of 16 against Gustavo Kuerten. Of course, that was the classic match where afterwards Kuerten drew the big heart on the clay and then lay down in the middle of it. Went on to win the French Open that year. I think that was his third and final one, Rog. If you could just meet Tennys Sandgren on this change of ends and have 30 seconds with him, what would you say to him?
Well, if we were level and they both won their serve, my thing would be to not rush. Take your time. You're playing the game at your speed. Do not rush because you think things are caving in on you. And that's what's happening at the moment. It feels like it's all coming in on him quickly. There's a lot of just need to stay calm and play at your speed. See, and that's the shot he wasn't doing before. He'd be happy to go cross court. So he's now playing the opponent and the occasion more. Before he was definitely in his lane.
Oh, he's got away with one there.
That was just defending, wasn't it? Roger got away with 7. That was his first.
That's fine. I didn't tell you.
Can't get caught up in this part.
Advantage, Federer.
And this is just a bit of frustration, isn't it?
Yeah, he's not sure if he wants to carry on or not. He's complaining about it. The chair umpire has said to him he can stop playing if he wants to. And I think the fact that, is it the big screen?
Yeah.
That's showing the live action is on. Bothered Federer when he was serving this side too.
Got a little lucky there.
Yes.
Had to go over the highest part of the net. He was going to Roger's forehand as well.
Advantage.
He's done well there.
1 game all. 1 game all.
So I think we've lost audio as well.
Yep.
Someone's phone has gone off. I mean, it is all happening at the moment. One of my favorite documentaries that I've seen of late, Roger, was the movie Free Solo with Alex Honnold, who used to climb up El Capitan, no ropes, vertical face, 3,000 feet.
I don't even know what's going on in his mind when he's doing that.
That's the story I'd like to convey to my player when he's feeling pressure. I'd let him know that that's not pressure. What he's feeling out here is not pressure. Real pressure is what that guy feels. That's in.
30-11.
Because if he makes a mistake, he
It's all
dies.
over.
Yep. Whereas if you make a mistake, yep, it's okay.
40-11.
I would try and provide some perspective on this change of ends if I could speak to my guy. And if I couldn't, those are the kind of tools I'd like to equip him with.
Game Federer.
Oh, a forehand has deserted Sandgren. Federer's making the most of it.
2-1.
It's 2-1 in the fifth.
To the stringers, please.
There's a lot he's having to deal with. He's felt like every decision that the chair umpire has made has gone in Federer's favor. I can see his frustration. The out call that he's been allowed to challenge, the overrule, the fact that she allowed him to go for a toilet break right at the end of the set there when he had already been and come back.
Yeah, and this man here, he's played in that many 5-set matches under those extreme environments that it's just, this is normal day at the office. Yeah, not quite as normal as you'd like it to be.
No, it's not a normal day.
Well, when I was,
It's an abnormal day at the office.
but he knows what it's like.
Seats quickly, please, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Chair umpire for this one, Mariana Veljovic, really has been front and center at the moment. I get the feeling that Sandgren thinks that he's been a little bit hard done by. He's taken his medicine.
Thank you. Ready
I
for
think
play.
he's just about had his fill. Playing catch up here in the fifth is the American.
Love 15.
So there's a lot more commentary now going on. There was a lot more lockdown. So he's unsure now about what's taking place on the court, discussing with his box, and he's also got a man up the other end who's playing a lot more secure.
Mr. Sandgren challenging the call on the left center service line.
Worth a challenge.
The ball's called out.
Looked good through the air initially, Robbie. Did he get it to break quick at the end? Or did he grab it? Grabbed it.
He's grabbed it. And again, the chair umpire hasn't overruled.
15 on.
It's half on, half off. You can understand. But he's always being the one that has to make the challenge. There's no overrule there.
$30-15.
I don't know about you, but I just get the feeling that Sandgren needs to melt a racket. He needs to get this frustration out of him. Just a
Just
proper
relax.
gonzo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go, just relax. Get this. Get a release.
I'm feeling the tension for him.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Out. 40-15.
That's the shot he was trying to execute on a fair few match points, right? Just couldn't get the height. Kept missing that backhand in the net, didn't he?
Well, highest part of the net. Likes to drive it.
Game Sandgren. Two games all. Love 15. Let for service.
Roger's a lot more engaged look in his face now. And he was engaged throughout the course of the match, obviously, but more engaged in what he can do on the court now. He's definitely getting to more balls and got access to his shots in a different way.
Well, there's that oil painting of a backhand that we haven't seen for a while.
40-15.
What a stroke that was. Stand and deliver.
Nice.
40-13.
He's been relentless on that second serve return, always looking to go after it.
Fans will love that. So will Roger.
New balls, please.
Gets his nose back out in front.
Federer leads
3-2 in the decider. Oh, that is a walk at glacial pace. seen this kind of delivery. Look at the court positioning from Federer. Hand is so still on contact, the extreme grip, strong grip, body weight always going forward. Those kind of shots have been few and far between.
Time.
Well, it's the kind of match that will test every sinew of Tennys Sandgren. 7 match point opportunities have come and gone. Had a chance to make his first Grand Slam semi-final and do it by beating one of the all-time greats, despite the fact he is ailing. There's no comments column on the scorecard, is there? Now you've got to reset. Now we'll see how qualified he is from the neck up. It'll test your mental fortitude, your patience, as our co-commentator was alluding to.
And the body language is different, isn't it? You've got to remember he played 5 sets in his last round against Fabio Fognini. And so the emotions of that. Now this is gone on another planet in regards to the emotional roller coaster he's been on.
Match against Fognini. Almost 3.5 hours. Crash. 27 minutes. So we're getting close to that in this one. Boys have been on court 3 hours 20.
And he lost that 4th set in tiebreak too, but bounced back to win the 5th, 6-4. Playing a different opponent though out here.
Yes. So we just double check that score against Fognini. 7-6, 7-5, 6-7.
4 tight sets.
Yeah, 6-4. Oh, that is the best net play in a while.
40-13.
And he knows it. It's the fadeaway jump shot like we see in basketball, this one.
Yes.
And Tennys Sandgren's having a go at either a couple of commentators there sitting on the side of the court, and they're obviously a little too loud for his liking when they're speaking back to their networks.
Advantage Federer.
This could be a massive moment in the outcome of this match. Breakpoint Federer. Federer takes the bull by the horns.
Federer leads 4 games to 2.
And it's a fierce forehand.
And again, he's been able to use it, get his legs involved.
Ready for play, thank you.
And after that, Tennys Sandgren gave the thumbs up to the guys on the sideline.
Out.
Not his team,
Love 15.
but the broadcasters. Here it is here.
I mean, if he's got to break back, it has to happen immediately, surely. Federer's just found a little bit of extra juice on his serve, hasn't he?
Oh, he's got his legs. You know, his legs are active. So it's amazing. We spoke about it when they don't work, how impactful that is. On the flip side, when they do, things happen. And Tennys Sandgren now has got an environment where everything's coming into his world. He's now not he's now not singularly taking on the tennis court. There's a bigger play. Roger's in control.
What a turnaround this has been. Down and out. Roger on the brink of another semi-final showing here down under. He leads 5-2.
I hear you commentating in the middle of a game like that. You should be revoked. That's bull, man. That's ridiculous. I'm hearing the commentary of my own match. Oh yeah, well I told you no. I don't. What am I supposed to do? They distracted me. Like I tell you now. There's nothing I can do. No, I know. There's nothing you can do. Yeah, I know. But seriously, like that's a joke. That's a joke.
His point's fair saying you can hear them commentating, but he said, I've been hearing them the whole match, so it hasn't actually been affecting him for the whole match. And obviously it's natural that things are playing up now, is it?
Well, this has been one of the most unbelievably dramatic matches I've seen in a long, long time. The quality has certainly not been what we're used to seeing from Roger Federer. But boy, has he hung on in here.
And look at this set, Robbie, for Roger Federer. 4 unforced errors. We talked about the number of unforced errors throughout the course of the match, courtesy of what was going on with his body, but he's been totally ruthless now.
If Roger were to prevail here, I make it that it would be the 22nd time in his career that he's come back from match point down and won. Last time he won from match point down was in Rome. Mentioned that match against Coric, and he had to retire the next day against Tsitsipas. Retires the wrong word, walkover. Remember, Federer's never retired in a match. In fact, he had 2 matches in 2019. Madrid against Gael Monfils. He saved 2 match points there as well.
Mr. Federer challenging the call on the right baseline. The ball was pulled out. (40-15). Game Sandgren. Federer leads 5-3. Mr. Federer has 2 challenges remaining.
Well done. What a great way to start
Love TT.
this returning game for Tennys Sandgren, throwing everything that he has.
He is not done yet. He is not done yet. That serve of Federer, often have we spoken about it in the biggest moments, in the biggest matches. His ability to produce free points just when he needs it. Well, 3 hours and 31 minutes of absorbing tennis, and Federer finally has a match point. He has done it! Federer saves an astonishing 7 match points to defeat Tennys Sandgren and make it through to the semi-finals here in Australia. What a match, what drama. Federer prevails in 5 sets. 6-3, 2-6, 2-6, 7-6, 6-3.
Incredible. And let's wait for the round of applause for the American, because he was almost outstanding.
It's a match that he will never forget.
played lights out tennis for so long to give himself all the opportunities and stayed the course, and unfortunately for him, it's going to be one that he's going to remember for a whole host of different reasons. But hats off to him. You can only go out there and throw everything at these champions, and he just did that.
Jim Courier, I believe, is courtside getting ready to chat with Roger.
Roger, that was very much an interesting match, to say the least. 7 match points you somehow saved in that 4th set, and here you are standing. How in the world are you the winner in this match?
You got to get lucky sometimes, I tell you that, because in those 7 match points, you're not under control. It might look that way, but I don't know. I was just hoping that maybe he was not going to smash the winner, you know, on that one point, and you just keep the ball in play. And if he does miss 1 or 2, who knows what he's thinking about? But even that, I don't think really mattered. I think he played his match. I think I got incredibly lucky today. And then as the match went on, I started to feel better again, and you know, all the pressure went away, and I just tried to play. And again, got a little lucky to get the break, and served really well, I think, for most of the match at the end especially. So I don't deserve this one, but I'm standing here, and I'm obviously very, very happy.
I don't think I'm alone in taking exception to you not deserving this win. A lot of players would have walked off the court. 3-0 in the 3rd set. You went and had a medical treatment. You came back out. You looked hampered. Your serve speeds were way down. Your movement was not what we're used to seeing from you. What were you dealing with?
It's been a lot of tennis throughout my life, and sometimes you feel a little bit funny. And I was starting to feel my groin and my leg starting to just tighten up. And I really struggled in defense, and I really don't like calling the trainer ever, because sign of weakness and all that stuff, and I try not to show it. The best is always when it's a groin, you go off court and nobody knows what it is. But at the end I was like, whatever, I'm gonna have some extra treatment on the leg. People know I'm probably not 100%, but still I thought there was tennis that was doing really the match. And I just said, like, you know, I believe in miracles. There could be rain, there could be stuff, and I don't know. I just thought it wasn't bad enough where I thought I was going to get worse. It was just stiff and tight and whatever you want to call it, and just let him finish me off in style, and he didn't do that. So incredibly lucky today. I don't even know what time it is.
You say you believe in miracles. You've had 2 great escapes now in this tournament. John Millman in the match tiebreak here a few nights ago had you 8-4, and from the 1st to 10, you swept the last 6 points. Are you feeling something special happening here?
I mean, come on. I don't know. Draws are not getting easier. But yeah, I mean, look, again, I got rest of the day, nothing to do. The next day, nothing to do, and then I play at night. And, you know, you do feel better in a couple of days, and then you just never know again. And with these lucky escapes, all of a sudden you might play without any expectations anymore, because you know you should already actually be skiing in Switzerland and actually not on the way there. So, so there you go. So lucky to be here, and might as well make the most of it. So,
Roger Federer, you're not like anyone I've ever met at all. Incredible. Okay, so you're still in the tournament, and tonight there will be a match to decide your opponent. It's Milos Raonic and Novak Djokovic. I mean, what do you think about that one?
Well, number one, it's great to see Milos back playing super well. That was nice work so far. Me, of all people, who he beat me in Wimbledon, that one hurt like crazy. In 16, still does. So I want to see him do well, you know. And I don't know, it's nice for him to remind everybody that he does belong up in the rankings and not in the, you know, around 50 or 40. I don't even know where he is. So we all know he's great. So that number one, I'm very happy for him. I think it's going to be a great match. Novak, obviously, he's a champ, especially here in Australia. He loves to play here, and we've had some epic matches in the past. And regardless of who I play, I know it's going to be very difficult, and I better feel better than today. Otherwise, I am actually really going skiing. So,
well, we're going to let you go get ready for that match. The great escape continues for Roger Federer at the Australian Open.
Well, Houdini would have been jealous today. That much I can tell you. Because that'll be the biggest comeback from match points down in his career. And he's right. So often after matches like this, Rash, you come out and you play with a freedom that you don't belong in the tournament. You should be back home, and it can really take off the shackles. But his health is going to have to improve significantly, as he said, in order to take on either Raonic or Djokovic in the semis. But
yeah, he's probably playing with house money, really. There's no doubt about that. And look, and he can free up now, and hopefully his body is free, because we want to see a free-flowing Roger Federer when they walk out the semi-finals. And these are the numbers, Robbie, but the break points, you can have a look at those. You know, they both didn't capitalise on those, so there were a lot on either side of the fence, but it realistically was about a couple of key moments. Tennys Sandgren did everything to give himself the advantage except closing the door, and he definitely got tight. There was no doubt about that. We saw that on the forehand side, and that accumulative effect played a part, and then things unravelled a little bit as we went into the fifth set. Roger got, as he said, he felt better, so his tennis gets better naturally. And it was a bit of an uphill battle from there, but we were lucky to witness it and be part of it in our small way. But wow, does it take a lot of calm and knowledge to get through a moment like that, which he did.
I certainly didn't think he was going to get through it. I just thought he was in too much hurt, but these guys